What's going on, guys? Rainbow Teacher in the house, and I am here with the GPL Group Announcement / draw. We're back, GPL Season 2. What a fun time we're gonna have. But I'm not the commissioner of this league, so I'm just an admin here helping out. But I had to bring along my good friend Nitro, who is the commissioner, with me. Say hi, my friend.
Howdy doody, what's occurring, people?
Alright, and Nitro is going to explain what the groups look like, how the groups are tiered, etc, etc, what the names are, and then we'll talk about who's in what group, so look forward to it. So take it away, Denny.
Alright, so last season we had the Sword and Shield Conference paired with the Red and Blue division and also the Silver and Gold divisions, which we had two groups and then two groups in that group, so 4 groups, sort of like split into 2. We'll be doing the same thing this time around, so there'll be 2 groups, and then those 2 groups will be split into 2. We'll be having the Diamond Conference and the Pearl Conference, because I'm banking on those Gen 4 remakes, baby.
Please happen next year. Yeah.
Also because I couldn't think of anything else, and I was thinking, hey, maybe I should ask my admins. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do it this way. It was only meant to be for a working title, but it grew on me, and now it's there forever. So
heck yes.
Diamond and Pearl Conference, and then I had to think, what goes with Diamond and Pearl? So I thought, hey, let's use some Pokemon. So we've got the Dialga division and the Darkrai division in the Diamond Conference, and we've also got in the Pearl Conference the Palkia division and the Cresselia division, because they all stem from Gen 4, and I was like, hey, this seems like a good idea. Wait. Yeah, Cresselia's Gen 4.
Yes, it is.
Like, I remember that one storyline in Gen 5, so I always mistake it for being a Gen 5 Pokemon.
Yeah, a lot of people do. But, yeah, that's gonna be it. So, without any further ado, let's break down the Dialga division first. Let's start with the Diamond Conference. Heading up the Dialga division, I'm back. I haven't gone anywhere, boys. I'm here. Why don't you talk about what you think is gonna happen from me this season, as I'm biased.
Okay, so obviously we've got quite a bit of returning players mixed with some new players. You did pretty well last season, made it to quarterfinals. I think looking at the groups this time, they're a lot more balanced. You'll have a lot more competition getting to the playoff stages. For anyone is going to be a lot more difficult this time around.
Not that I had any competition at all last season.
That's true. I feel like with everyone now sort of like comfortably sitting in a position where people who are returning from last season have a good idea what's going to be going on. Everyone's sort of play style. I mean, we're in a new generation. We're in Gen 8, which is the only thing that's going to maybe hold a few people back, or depending on the experience that people might have with Gen 8. But I feel this is going to be a lot more equal footing this time around, and I feel like it's going to be a lot harder of a climb to get to what you did last season. At least that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, I think it's also worth pointing out for me that most of my gameplay in Gen 8's actually been in VGC, so I haven't played that much in the former singles. I do have a pretty good idea of what's good, what isn't. I have played a bit of OU Ladder. I've played a few games of here and there with a couple of other players who are also in this league. But yeah, for the most part, I think I've got decent enough game knowledge. My team building skills are pretty strong, as usual. So I think if I can get some momentum going, I think I have a good shot. But you can never quite tell. Like, you never know. We've got some new players coming. We've got, obviously, some old hats that have been here before. And it's going to be tough. But I'm looking forward to it. I think I've got an exciting group. And part of that exciting group was my long-standing rival. Excadrill and the Excadrills. For whatever reason, this guy stretches me to my absolute limits. Like, there is literally nothing more I can say. Like, he's a very slow, calculated player. Takes a lot of time to make his moves, but he barely lets up at all. It's often one mistake that costs him games if he does lose. He did actually beat me in GPL Season 1 Week 5, so that's something to note, but I have been beating him almost every other time since. It's been tough. He's a very tough player. I definitely think he's going to make a very good shot for playoffs, and potentially even go as far as to win it. I think if he can master Gen 8 as well as he did the Gen 7 meta last season. He only debuted last season. It's hard to imagine that after how well he played. But I think he's definitely a scary opponent, and in my group it's going to be extremely difficult for me to break through him.
And hey, yeah, Seismitoad made it through the Dexit, so I'm pretty sure he'll be set on picking that up and trying to sweep through the league again. Still can't believe how good that Seismitoad did last season, but hey.
And it even got buffed
Exo,
this gen effectively, with a lot of other bulky waters not getting access to Toxic, so...
Yeah, so Exo, this is your time to shine, buddy. I believe.
It's a very scary threat for me. I definitely am. I'm looking forward to playing him, but I'm not at the same time. It's one of those, he's definitely a challenge, and definitely one to keep an eye out on. Alright, next up is going to be a newcomer. A good friend of mine from Pixelmon is this Meep coach of the Drifting Drifloons. I know a little bit about his background, because I've been talking to him quite a lot recently. He's not the most experienced player in terms of competitive play, but he does have some pretty good intelligent game sense. I've been talking to him and helping him build teams recently. He definitely has a pretty good idea of how certain Pokemon work, so I'd definitely be interested to see if he can adapt to the Gen 8 Draft League. Draft League is a very different animal to building teams for limited format. We say it all the time, but it's genuinely true. Like, Draft League stretches Pokemon to the limits, which you won't necessarily get from limited matter. But I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think this might actually be a somewhat tough group for him, but I think it's a good group for him to really test himself. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he comes up with.
I mean, I respect any guy whose favorite Pokemon is Damn Trash, so I have high hopes for this guy. I look forward to see what he can bring to the GPL Season 2. And hopefully he kicks both Ribombis and Exo's ass. So
imagine if that actually happens, though. Like, that would be really, really interesting to see what happens for the league. Also, my phone's going off.
Just let Meep win the playoffs right there and then if he kicks you guys out.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Imagine if that actually happens. But no, I think he's really interesting. I'm definitely excited for him. I wish him the best. He's going to have a hard time, I think, in at least 2 games in this group. But I think he's got a chance to win. I think he's got a chance to pick up a couple of wins. I think if he improves and he takes advice on board, I think he'll be a very tough opponent to play. So I'm interested to see when I do get to play him. Alright, and last in the Dialga division, he's coming back with actually things to play for this time, is Yarofa, coach of the Team Fat Pikachu. I'm still disappointed he didn't call it Team Chonkachu, but it is what it is. Yarufa came in at the back end of GPL Season 1, didn't really have anything to play for, the team was already out of playoffs, so I'm interested to see what he can bring now he's actually got something to fight for. I think he's definitely got some potential to be a very solid battler. We saw him make a couple of rather bad errors against the experienced players last time round, but he definitely put in some good work against some of the lesser players and definitely made a good account of himself for someone that doesn't equally have that much experience either. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he adapts to Gen 8.
Yeah, and on that note, there are quite a few people who sort of joined GPL 1 a little late in the season, obviously last season, who are now having that opportunity for a fresh start to build their team the way they want to build that team, have an equal opportunity of fighting for the Pokemon that they are competent in. So it'll be nice to see the people returning who took over a team now start from fresh, to pretty much flex what they can actually do, rather than picking up the slack from somebody else's team.
Yeah, I definitely think he's interesting to watch. I'm looking forward to that match. I think that's going to be interesting to see what it is. I really want to see what he drafts and how he actually drafts, what he drafts it around. That's what I'm looking for. Kind of the same for Meep, in fairness. I think if Meep gets an okay draft with a couple of Pokemon he knows how to use really well, I think he's going to be a big threat. Alright, so that's the Dialga division. Let's move on to the Darkrai division. And heading that up is last season's beaten finalist, Solo Destroyer. I love this guy and I hate this guy at the same time. Obviously, I hate him because he beat me in the quarterfinals last time, but I love this guy's playstyle. I think, in all fairness, to come in and take over a team that was relatively defensive and turn it into an aggressive, almost hyper-offensive machine and just literally giant kill people left and right, that's pretty impressive. Very fitting of the Pokemon Weavile as well, I must add. Really, really strong player. Definitely aggressive. Definitely tough to play against. He will not give you an inch. If you make a slight mistake, he will punish you. And that's exactly what I think will make him a scary threat in this division.
Yeah, and to come into the season, and he was, from what I remember, he came in at a sort of like losing, sort of like in a behind position. Like he had to fight his way into.
He lost his first 2 games as well. He was too overeager and got punished. But then after that, he just never lost until the final. It was brutal.
Yeah, to come back from obviously like a team that was already out and going like losing his first 2 games and then being able to come back into the semi-finals and then the finals even. I have a lot of high hopes for this guy. This guy is definitely proven to be one of the stronger players of the league, and I look forward to seeing what he can do from scratch. Because oh boy, he's a bit scary.
I definitely think he's #1 seed in this conference right now. If I'm having to be fair, there's definitely some players who can fight him for it, but I definitely think he's going to be a big threat to the league as a whole, not just this division. He's very, very strong. Also coming in hot, very strong, is actually a newcomer this season. My good friend Tyler, Poketrainer, coach of the Munchin Munchlexers. Of course, most people might know him from my channel, especially on my streams, as he is my souling partner at the moment. Definitely made quite a bit of an impact in the ADL. He definitely proved to be very, very strong. He only recently lost his first match in 8 games as of a week or so ago. He definitely plays.
Another Transyl.
He definitely plays very strong. Yeah, he might be another Transyl effect. You never quite know. I would argue the ADL is a slightly lower standard of players than the GPL. There are a couple of players who play both leagues, myself and Exo being examples of that. But who knows? This guy's got some decent battle knowledge in his head for quite a young man as well. He is still very young, so it's interesting because he's not been playing Pokemon that long. But despite that, he has a very mature head. He battles very mature compared to a lot of players I've seen. So I think he's a very big threat. I think he's definitely a playoff shot. I am expecting a lot. I am going to put a bit of pressure on him here. I think he should win a lot of games in this group. This group's a good one for him to play against. But yeah, I think he's very difficult to read, but I think he's a very tough player.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what he can do as well. I can't say too much, I've only known him through your streams, but he seems like a really genuine nice guy, and I can't wait to see what he can do. And if he can play as well as you say he can, then even more to look forward to.
Absolutely. Alright, coming in next is a returning player. We haven't seen him in a while. The last time we saw him was GPL Season 0, where he made the semi-finals, unfortunately had to drop. Is Cap Guy, of course, coach of the Swedish Casuals. I've never actually played him. He was in the other division to me, so I don't know much about him, so I'll let you take this one, Denny.
So Cap Guy is a good long-standing friend of mine. We've played now in a few different draft leagues, always stemming back from the roots of the GPL, which was the Chaos League, which we can get into a little later on. But Cap Guy, he started like in his first couple of matches in the first draft league that we played together. He clearly wasn't quite sure at that point in time. But as each time he battled, each league he's been in, he's just improved and improved and improved. And that's the kind of guy he is. You put a game in front of him, you put any sort of situation in front of him, and he will learn, he will adapt, and he will come at you with like so much. This guy, his potential is almost like Goku. His potential is just limitless when it comes to certain things. I feel like the only thing that's going to really hold him back is he has not played a single game of Gen 8 as far as I know, and he's just stepping into the ring, into the deep end. He doesn't care, and he's probably going to take a few names with him. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts to Gen 8, honestly. He knows draft, but he doesn't know Gen 8. So he's got at least half the battle down already, but I'm very interested to see how he goes. And yeah, it's nice to see him come back. Welcome back, dude.
Yeah, he's definitely a dark horse, though. There's always that one player in the group that you never quite know what you're going to get from, and I'm pretty sure in this group it's very definitely going to be Cap Guy. We know he's got some decent mechanics. We know he can definitely learn things fast. He can pick things up very quickly. So if he can pick up Gen 8 as fast as he picks up a lot of other things, he's going to be a monster coming into this group. He will definitely really take some names. At last, in this Darkrai division, he's back after losing every game last season, but to his credit, it's great to see him back. Krimpets, coach of the Cresselia Shadows. I have a lot of respect for anyone who loses every single game in a season and then comes back for more. Like, that is a huge ask. Like, it's a very big ask. But I think this is probably the best group he could have had. Like last season, he very much had a group of death. Pretty much everybody in that group, except him, had competitive experience. So it was extremely difficult, of course, to play against him. And at the end of the day, like even some of the games he lost, he didn't lose that badly in some of them. He did get smashed by both you and me, but that's an unfortunate situation for him. But I really have a lot of respect for him. I think this time, if he doesn't draft Trick Room and actually drafts a team he can play, I think he'll actually be quite interesting to watch. I'll be interested to see how he's improved and how he's taken all the losses from last season and kind of built and learned from those, because we all started losing at some point, you know. I remember back in 2003 when I first started competitive, I lost quite a lot of matches back then, so I know how it feels to step into competitive and have to be on the losing end most of the time. Krimpets obviously did it last time. I'm looking forward to it. I think there's some couple of players in this conference I think he's got a good shot against, so hopefully he won't be in the one double bust system again. That was just unfortunate for him. But I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Krimpets return. I'm so glad he did. Respect to you, brother. But as I was saying in Season 1, I mean, yeah, he had a bad season, but he may have, from that point, he may have learned, so he got the experience he needs. You know, everyone's on equal, somewhat footing in Gen 8. This is the first Gen 8 draft league I'm going to be part of, excluding the EDL, which was exclusively a UU tournament. But hopefully he can take what he learned from Season 1, adapt it to Season 2, get a better draft, and hopefully we'll see him pick up some wins. And I'm really excited for that moment.
Oh, I can't wait. I will literally celebrate screaming. I might even have to do a separate video celebrating Krimpets' win. It has to happen, I think. It would be so good.
I'll give him a role on the Discord server.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to happen, dude. Alright, well that does it all for the Diamond Division, the Diamond Conference. So let's go and have a look at this Pearl Conference and the Palkia Division starting off. Coming back is this last season's champion, of course, Transyl. Can we please nerf this guy for the love of God? And can someone first pick Zeraora so he doesn't get it? Thank you very much, I greatly appreciate it. All jokes aside, of course, Transyl came in last season, just dominated. There was no other way to put it. He was super strong throughout the season. His mechanics, I've known since he was in Pokemon. I have also been there. I've always seen this guy be a strong player. Definitely proved it last season. His mechanics are second to very few. He is really, really scary to play against. I had a nightmare against him, and I know quite a few people did. So hopefully people pick Zeraora and people pick Hydreigon so he doesn't get either of those, and I think we might have a shot at beating him this season. But other than that, he's obviously a big threat for the championship. He's going to be out now to defend his title, and it's up to that division to try and stop him.
I mean, speak for yourself. I am 2-1 versus Transyl, and I do plan on extending that lead too this season. So, you know, Transyl, I'm coming for you, boy.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that match. Now you've hyped it up, I think we might as well talk about you next, shall we? I have a lot of respect for you as a player. I think when you actually are not memeing and trying to have too much fun, I think you're actually very scary to play against. I remember my match against you, even though I had a matchup that was in my favour, you still made me think a lot, and I still had to work quite hard for that win. So I think that's one of your biggest strengths. I think one of your big strengths is understanding how to win a game and trying to go every way to make that happen. Of course, you may not get Komao this season, which was your big linchpin for the last one, but you never quite know. We haven't seen the draft yet. We haven't drafted just as of the time of recording, but I do think mechanically you're very strong. I think mentally you're also very strong. The only downside, of course, is you tend to tilt after a loss, but that's usually after the battle, not during it, so it's definitely worth watching. I think you are a big threat, no matter what. I think any league you're playing in, you are a big threat to win. I think that's the kind of strength of a player you have, and that comes from experience. You know, we've been around forever when it comes to competitive. We know the game, we know the scene, we know how to play. It's just going to be a question of can we put it together on the day.
Well, I mean, you are right about the tilting thing. I mean, I do tend to tilt for about 5-10 minutes after the game. I mean,
I think we all do to an extent.
Yeah. Komao last season was more picked up as a joke. I was like, hey, nobody plays Komao. I'll pick Komao and play him, and he turned out to be one of my biggest assets. Who knew? And now he's even stronger in Gen 8. So I am going to be gunning for that Komao. I'm going to let you know now, just like Transyl's gunning for that goddamn Zeraora, I'm gunning for that Komao. Watch out, guys.
Yeah, definitely watch out. And thank God I ain't facing either of you this season, unless we all make playoffs.
I will explain like what will happen in terms of like the matches at the end of the video, if that's okay.
That works for me. All right. Coming in next, the third member is someone I'm really excited for, is Professor Chaos, the Garden State Blizzard's coach. Professor, of course, another Pokemon player who's actually also going to be streaming content for the GPL this season, which I'm extremely grateful to see. The guy's a very, very tough player. I've seen him play a lot of limited format in Pokemon. He's definitely very strong. He's got a good game sense about him. How that will translate into Draft League, we never quite know. I've seen a lot of good players in limited format not be able to make the transition to Draft League. Of course, we had Transyl last season and Exo, who definitely took to it very well. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. I think mechanically he's always going to be gifted, but in terms of how he drafts, that will probably define how well his season goes in this group.
So, I mentioned earlier that one of the first draft leagues I played with Capguy was the Chaos League. Now Professor Chaos League, that all stems from the same thing. So Chaos League was Professor Chaos's draft league that I assisted and helped with back in the day. Professor has very, very, very good game knowledge. I remember watching back, because he used to stream all his matches. I remember looking back on the game that we did, like at the very first season, the very first game of that season was me versus Professor Chaos. I ended up beating him, but I remember looking back in that video and he called every single move I made, every single one. You couldn't adapt it very well, because in the end, like, if you carry on making predictions, you're gonna get beat down eventually. But every single game he spectated, every game he hosted and watched on his streams, he used to do a playback. He used to look back on the week and sort of like do a general analysis of the games. He called every move. His game knowledge is very good, and he puts a lot of thought into his games, though his biggest weakness is he does tend to panic and stress when he's in games. But if he can get over that, then he is especially a very, very strong player. And though I am kind of, I'd like to go into all my games confident, he does, along with him and Transyl, they both give me a sort of I don't look forward to fighting them, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that you always have a lot of respect for, but you always dread when that moment comes. Exactly. I definitely think he's going to be scary. I'm looking forward to watching his games. I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays and seeing if he can match up to some very, very tough players in this group. This group is not easy.
Just a note, in his very first draft league, he dropped his very first game to me, went on to win every single game apart from that and make it to finals and lose to me in finals. And he almost beat me in the finals as well. So he's definitely a player to not mess with.
Definitely one to keep a very, very close eye on. Hopefully we built up the hype for him so he actually has a good season. I'd be sad if it all goes wrong now. Alright, rounding out the Palkia division is going to be our good friend, Majestic Sylveon, I guess, and coach of the Miami Sylveons. I love watching this guy play just because he always brings the same stuff every week and hopes it works. I think he's very good proof of Einstein's theory that madness is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But I do appreciate the banter that comes with it. I do think it's quite funny. However, it is fair to say to him that by the time he faced me last season, he was trying to make adaptations. Unfortunately, against me, they didn't come off. But it's definitely interesting to see how he fits in. Obviously, compared to the rest of this particular division, he is quite clearly the lower seed. It's fair to say. But who knows? You never quite know with Sylvie. Like, he's either going to pull the sublime or the ridiculous. It's one of those two. So I'm definitely interested to see how he can prove Gen 8 is his meta. Competitive in Gen 8 is definitely a lot more open. There's a lot more viable Pokemon now. It's not just a case of X Pokemon is better than everything else. But I definitely think it'll be interesting to see what he goes for. And if he's a fucking snipes Rabombi from me again.
Yeah. Sylveon, he's a great guy. Again, going back to Chaos League, he was also present in the very first Chaos League. So the last 2 years, every single draft league that I've been part of, apart from very few side ones, like the little ones, Sylveon's always been there. I mean, it almost doesn't feel like a draft league without Sylveon being part of it at this point.
It's very much, he literally has a sign on the GPL that says Sylvie was here. Like, you exactly. we just can't shake him off, and I'm glad he's there. He's very good to have fun with.
And on that note, his star Pokemon, the one Pokemon he first picked last season, Sylveon itself, I feel like is stronger than ever in this new Gen 8 with Throat Spray and Hyper Voice and Pixel, and just Fairy is being pretty damn strong at the moment. I feel like Sylveon is probably in its best place it's been in since it's released, so that's also something I'm looking forward to seeing if he can utilize that new strength. I
can't wait to see him first pick it again. That's all I can say. Alright, let's then look at the final division, the Cresselia division, and heading up that is going to be the Rain God from last season, DJ Bird, coach of the DJ Darkness. I'm interested to see what he drafts this time round, because we all predicted weather was going to be really, really strong in this gen, based on how many weather setters were there and how many abusers of weather there were there. But in all honesty, from my experience, I haven't seen weather be that good recently. Maybe except for sun, but like that's pretty much it. So I'm interested to see what kind of draft he goes for. Obviously, he mastered Rain Team last season. He was definitely a big threat. There was definitely a lot of banter between him and me with my videos and his responses and all of that. Definitely a lot of fun. I love having that kind of banter. It definitely makes the league more exciting. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what he drafts and how he actually drafts this season. And how similar will it be to the Rain team from last season? Rain is kind of difficult to draft, I think. But you never quite know. DJ's probably got something up his sleeve.
I think with the new changes that we've made to the GPL, being that obviously it's not going to be a point-based system anymore, we're running on the WBE. I feel like drafting any sort of like gimmick team is going to be very difficult, since Tier S and Tier A are pretty much limited to 1 slots. That might make or break, say, a Rain team. For an example, you're not going to be able to get Scooter and Pelipper, I don't think, on the same team.
No, they're in the same tier.
So that's going to be really difficult. I'd like to see what else he can do. Surely he obliterated his conference in Season 1 with his Rain team. Though I'm looking forward to seeing what he does now in this league, in this Season 2. Plus now he's going to have a lot more competition, I feel, regarding both the Palkia and the Cresselia division together. So I look forward to see what he does. It was unfortunate that he had to drop out of the playoffs last season, so...
Absolutely, that was a shame. But we're glad he's back. Joining him in the Cresselia division is going to be my Kryptonite, Shadow X, coach of the Shadows. I'm glad I got rid of him for now, because I'm not going to lie, this guy is so mechanically strong. It is really scary playing against him. I feel like I beat myself before I even have to play him. Like, he just, literally, you give him an inch, he takes 10 miles. There's just no way you can let up against him at all. Like, the people that have beat him genuinely just make 0 mistakes. This guy is very, very smart. His team builds are very creative. He uses Pokemon in ways that you just don't think about. If you're used to standard usage, you just don't really think about the way he uses his mons. And I think that creativity is what really gives him an edge and makes him a very scary threat in what is a very scary group. Yeah,
Shadow's always proven himself to be strong. Back on when I first played in the first draft league, he's another guy who stems back to the original Chaos League 1. He was the only person who ever really came close to really beating me then, and ever since, we're, I think, currently sitting at I think in overall draft leagues, I think we're sitting at a 2-3 in his favor, like, win-loss ratio. So he's definitely a really strong player. He's definitely the kind of player who you can't really let get ahead, otherwise he's just going to take that momentum and run with it. You have to bash him down early and keep him down, otherwise he's going to bounce back and just smack you back down.
And even if you do bash him down, there's just no guarantee you're going to win. That's just the hard thing about him. You just can't throw any momentum away. And that is really, really scary to play against. So have fun, everybody, in that division, because I don't have to have that fun this season. He's literally beaten me 5-0 both times we've played. It's terrifying.
I'm also kind of interested to see how he's adapted to Gen 8. I think a lot of this season is going to be coming down to how well people can adapt to this new meta, how well people are just going to be able to learn like what's good, what's not. Obviously, again, Gen 8 Draft League, this is going to be new to myself, and probably most people here, excluding like small leagues, like I said, like the EDL, which was primarily just like UU League. So it'll be nice to see how everyone's going to really adapt to this new sort of like style of the new Pokemon released and such.
Absolutely. Alright, coming in next is going to be another newcomer from the Pixelmon server. Is going to be Expert Cool, coach of the Flaming Skulls. I don't know much about his actual battle capability. I do know he's faced a few people and he's lost to some people that lose to me on a regular basis, but then again, he's also beaten some people that give me some competition. So he's very, very difficult to read. Not really much is known about him, in fairness, other than the fact he owns the Pixelmon server, and he does have some okay game sense. I have heard in sometimes the Pixelmon voice call, people are asking questions about certain Pokemon, and he's got generally very good answers. So I'll be interested to see what he drafts, how he drafts. He's not really played Draft League before, to my knowledge. He mentioned it to me before. He's not really played it, so he'd want to have a go, which is nice to see. But he does have some game knowledge, but I don't know how much he can really translate into draft. It's very, very challenging, of course. Having good game knowledge of Smogon sets is one thing. Having good knowledge of Draft League is a whole different beast.
Yep, no, I agree. He's definitely the wild card of this season, I think. Nobody knows anything about him other than the fact that he does own that one Minecraft server, the Golden Crest?
Gold Crest, yeah.
Yeah, if you play Pixelmon, check it out. Pretty good.
Definitely. So, Dinny and I are both gym leaders. Hashtag shameless plug.
Just plug it in the server right there. But no, I think it'd be cool. If he's as good as Pokemon as he is at breaking Minecraft servers, then he shouldn't have 2 issues.
I'm glad you said that and not me, because if Cool watches this video and he thinks I said it, I'm going to get a lot of shit for that. You realise this, right?
Cool. He told me to say it before we started recording. It's not me, I swear.
Your $20 has been sent in PayPal, thank you. Right? But yeah,
we can just cut that. It's fine.
But yeah, no. Oh no, I'm leaving it in. Fuck that, right? Alright, all memes aside though, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. I think he's in a very fierce group, but it'll be a good test to see where he's actually at. And last but by no means least, is going to be one of my very good friends, Corrupted Nitro, formerly of the Galvanized Greninjas. This time he tilted me because his name's actually longer than mine now. He's the Buffalo Belligerent Bouffalance. I like Nitro a lot. He's definitely improved a lot since he came in at the back end of last season. Last season he never really played competitive at all. He often asked me for team building advice and stuff like that. He's taken a lot of that team building advice on board. So I definitely think this season he's going to be coming in a lot stronger. I'm definitely interested to see how he controls his own draft, much like with Yorufa before. He came in when he didn't really have anything to play for. He was definitely a tough opponent. He did beat a pretty good player at the start of it, and everyone unfortunately fell off towards the end. But I do think, given a whole season, I think he's got a decent shout of being strong. He's in a hard group. The group is very challenging, but he relishes challenge. He loves that kind of experience. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table this time.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to it, and I swear to God, you guys with such a long titles for your team names gives me hell for the doc. I'm just letting you know that now.
You're welcome.
But yeah, he came in at the back end of season 1. It'll be great for him to start from fresh, get that team the way he wants to build it. He's definitely got the competition in Shadow, DJ, and Cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he fights against those. I think Nitro versus Shadow is going to be a pretty good match to watch. I don't know much about the guy, unfortunately, but from what I have seen, I am quite excited to see where he can go in season 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That brings us all of them. So if you want to talk about the matches, take it away, my friend.
Okay, so this week. Whoa,
steady now.
Got a little bit here, but last season we had a 12-week season and a further 4-week playoff session. This time around, you guys voted, we listened, I helped, I did what was necessary. We are going to be dropping this down to 8 weeks this time around, so we're cutting off an entire month of the GPL. Hopefully to keep it nice, short and sweet, and then obviously come back to season 3. So the way that it's going to work now is week 1 is going to be an inter-division match, so you'll be fighting someone from the either division. So for an example, Rabombi is in the Dialga division, he'll be fighting someone from the Darkrai division. Then week 2, week 3 is going to be divisional matches. Then week 4 will be another inter-division match. Week 5 is a division match. Week 6 will be an inter-division match, and so will week 7. So ideally you're going to be playing everyone in your own division once, so that's 3 matches in your division. Everyone in the opposite division to you in the conference, so that'll be 4 matches there, and then that equals to 7 matches. So on the 8th match it will be an inter-conference match. What that means is you'll be playing someone from the other conference, from the Palkia to the Diamond to the Pearl conference. And what's going to happen there is you'll be playing someone who's on the opposite side of you, on the opposite seed. So if you're in seed 7 on the Diamond division, then you'll be playing someone from seed 7 on the Pearl division, so conference. So that's how the matches are going to work this time around. Obviously, then the top 4 or top 6. I haven't worked out the playoffs just yet. I mean, that's still in the works. But obviously, then we're going to go on to the playoff stage, and then from the playoff stage, the champion stage, which will be the finals, will be the best of 3, just like the season 1 was. And that's how the matches are going to play out in season 2. Hopefully, you guys prefer it this way. Like I said, I know there was a few complaints about the length of the season 1, so hopefully this time now will be, like I said, we listen. So hopefully now it'll be just short and sweet.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a lot of fun, especially doing the interconference match. I think that's going to be a really interesting one, depending on where the top seeds are and who ends up facing who. I think it's going to be a really, really good season. I love these groups. I think these groups are really, really well balanced on both sides. I think both divisions are really stacked, which is nice. It definitely makes for a lot of interesting competition. There's going to be a lot of hype matches. So welcome, of course, to all the new people who have joined us. Welcome back to all the people that are returning, of course. But that's going to be all from the groups hoops. We'll let you know more about playoffs when we've worked it out. But yeah, for now, thank you so much, Denny, for joining me.
No problem. And thank you for everyone who is still part of the GPL. Obviously, this wouldn't be possible without any of you guys, without Eurobombi, without anyone in that server or anyone participating. So thank you guys as well, and I can't wait to see you when the GPL Season 2 starts.
Alright, and on that note, we are going to get on out of here, so thank you so much for watching. My name is Robombi Teacher. I'm your coach of the Rob Bomber for Bombies. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.